Hey, Katie, it's that time of year again. If you're a stylist, a salon owner, or someone who just loves this industry, I want to invite you to the room that feels like home. Presley Poe and Friends is happening April 25th and 26th in Frederick, Maryland. It isn't about the hype, it's about you belonging.
This weekend's about community, real connection, real conversation. Presley Poe themselves is the heartbeat of this event, and they're bringing people they genuinely believe in. Ruth Roche, Jackie Davis, Krista Bartik, Cynthia Lumsey, these are artists that care about the room, not just the stage.
You will learn, you'll be inspired, but more than anything, you'll be seen. Whether you're early in your career or decades in, this is the space where you can exhale and remember why you chose this industry in the first place.
Now, seats are limited, and this room fills fast. If this feels like something you need right now, don't wait. Grab your ticket at PresleyPoeandFriends.com, and we can't wait to welcome you.
Please do me you.
Hey, welcome to your day off. My name is Corey, and I'm the host of this here podcast. I don't know why I say that. I think I stole that from like the Elvis Presley movie that was out a couple years ago. But anyways, hey, welcome back to the podcast. This is only our second podcast of the year, but that's okay. We time these things out. In all transparency, I was supposed to be at Serious Business in January, and I was going to do 7 weeks of content that weekend, but unfortunately I had to cancel that weekend. So we're just getting started a little bit later in the year. However, we still get to talk to interesting people, and today's guest I was actually going to talk to in New Orleans, but again, since I had to cancel that weekend, it didn't happen. But I'm super happy to have her on the podcast this week. So as many of you know, like I'm really interested in hairdressing. I'm really interested in hair. Actually, you know what? I'm less interested in hairdressing, but I'm way more interested in hairdressers. And I think that's why we kind of started the podcast in the first place. I'm also interested in what people are doing within hairdressing, or what hairdressers are doing within hairdressing. I'm trying to confuse myself, I think. So today our guest is Miss Michelle Bowden. Is Bowden the right? That's the way to pronounce it?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So today we're talking to Michelle Bowden. Michelle is a salon owner in Dallas, Texas, and she wrote an article for American Salon American Salon, right, Michelle? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
In America, and she talked about her experience at her first fashion week and her learns and stuff. So I kind of want to get into her career. I kind of want her to walk us through how she got to fashion week, because I know it's a conversation that I literally have weekly. Like, how can we do like fashion week and stuff like that? So I kind of want to learn about her path and how she got invited to do it, because that's the big thing about fashion week. It's a lot of invite, and ignore all those emails that you get that says, if you pay me $1,000, I'll get you into fashion week and stuff like that. Yeah, ignore all those emails. Most of them are scam. Whatever. I'm sure I'll hear from that. I'm sure I'll hear from $1,000 collector that's giving me shit. So please give Miss Michelle Bowden a warm welcome on your day off podcast. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Corey.
You are so welcome. Michelle, where are you from? Well, I just mentioned.
I'm from Dallas, Texas, born and raised. Still live here. Yeah, born and raised. The suburbs of Dallas, actually, but yeah, never left.
I would love to go to Dallas. Like, it's like one of those like spots that I want to take. I once drove through it, but I don't know if that counts as actually visiting it.
Maybe not. It depends on when you drove through it, because it's grown so much in the last couple of decades. It's when you're a kid, you kind of go, I don't really like this. I'm leaving as soon as I get old enough. And then you get old enough, and then you find your niche, or you find your area that you want to be in, or start your career and things like that. And then you're like, oh, this isn't so bad.
Right. I've learned that, just because you leave doesn't mean it's any better. Right. Like
That's true. That's very true.
It's the grass is never greener. It's only as green as you water it,
Exactly. So it's definitely, it's presented itself to me in a way that I'm good with staying.
That's awesome. And how far is Dallas from Fort Worth?
It's about a 45-minute drive, 35 to 45 minutes, depending on traffic, which is always the case.
You're right. I live in DC, so like Baltimore is about 40 minutes. So it's probably like,
yeah.
Like you have Dallas, Fort Worth, and we have Baltimore, Washington. So
it's probably about 35 miles or so.
That's about right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's about right for us.
Yeah.
Michelle, had you been paying attention to the monk walk?
Oh, I don't know. I've never heard of this.
You've never, oh my gosh, it just ended. So these monks out of Fort Worth, Texas, they walked all the way from Fort Worth to Houston and then to
That's
Washington.
fascinating.
Hold on. And then to Washington, D.C. So they spent
Whoa.
4 months walking. It was a 2,300-mile walk. And the only reason they were walking was to spread the word of peace.
Wow. How many monks do you think?
It was well, they started with 20 monks, and then while they were in Houston, one of them got hit by a car and had to have his leg
Oh,
so he didn't finish the walk, but the other 19 walked again, all the way from Houston to DC, and it literally just ended last week. It was 108 days. It was 108 days of the walk, and I had been following along, and then actually when they were here in DC, I was able to see them, but it was fascinating, and
that is so cool.
it was very much like Forrest Gump, right? Like
Yeah.
they just went out there and walked, and then by the time they got to DC, there were tens of thousands of people waiting for them to arrive. Which again, they didn't ask for anything. They're not asking anyone to like convert to Buddhism. They're not asking anyone to support them monetarily. They didn't ask for anything except to be aware that the peace is within you, kind of stuff,
I-
kind of messaging.
I'll have to look that up. Maybe there's some video or something about it.
There's tons of videos. I mean,
Yeah.
I was always fast. I was talking to a friend of mine about it, and I was amazed at how only through a social media account is the only, there wasn't a PR team behind them getting it, like promoting it or anything. It was just a person with a camera that kind of followed them for 2,300 miles, which is just
Wow.
extraordinary to kind of watch, the community come together and stuff. But anyway, so now that's just another thing that I kind of want to do if I'm ever in the Dallas Fort Worth thing. And I'm also like, I like the Gas Monkey show too. So I guess that would have to be like, I'd have to
Oh, yeah.
stop by and
Yeah.
do a tour there or something. But no, dude, I look forward to being in Dallas. So tell me, how'd you find the industry? How'd you get in the industry?
Crazy. It's like, I wasn't one of those people that, oh, I did hair when I was a kid or anything like that. I actually got my first salon job as a front desk person when I was 16. So I was still in high school. I got a receptionist position working front desk. And that's kind of where it opened my eyes to the industry. I wasn't really sure. I didn't know anything about the industry, but then I was working with some of my coworkers actually had connections with one of the local hair schools. So they were like, "You should go to hair school when you're done with high school." And honestly, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an actress, and that was not a very. I guess to me, I didn't think I was very good at it, but I wanted to learn it. But then this came along, and they were like, "No, just go to hair school. It's only 9 months, and I think we think you'd really really good at it." And I thought, well, if I'm going to go to hair school, I don't want to cut hair. I knew that. It's like I'm more interested in hair color. They're like, well, but you have to learn all of it, but you can decide later. So I did. I enrolled in hair school and worked at the salon for 2 years. It was actually an Aveda salon, and I'm still with Aveda. So I've been with Aveda since I was 16. And so I got just kind of connected with the brand and connected with the products. And so went to hair school, got through that. That was,
Hair school.
as hair school can be, and started at Avalon, which is where I currently am now.
So you've been in one salon your entire career?
I have, well, one salon as a professional, yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing, man.
Yeah. I started at Avalon when I was 19. I graduated from hair school, went straight to Avalon, and I've been there 23 years.
What was it about Avalon that like that was where you're going to get started, or that was your space?
So I went to hair school actually in Hurst, Texas, which is a suburb of Fort Worth. And at the time I was just living over in that area, and so it was just close to me. But my big dream was to work in Dallas, work in the big D, work in the city of
In big city,
Dallas.
right?
Yeah, big city where, to be frank, the money is and where the people are. And I wanted to work for an Aveda salon. That was my two checks
Criteria.
off the list. Yeah, so I had heard about Avalon, and Avalon had a really big reputation for being one of the best Aveda salons in the city, and one of the oldest Aveda salons that was around. And so I actually I actually reached out and just took a, just I don't know what I'm trying to say.
You took a leap of faith, and you were like,
Took a leap of faith,
yeah,
yeah.
if this is meant to be, it's meant
Ap
to be.
Applied. I didn't hear back right away, but I became that, nagging ant. It was
Right.
just like that fly that was like, hi, I just, I already submitted an application. This was way before online applications, but submitted an application, haven't heard back, and they're like, "Oh, okay, sorry." But a couple weeks later, I finally got in, and they hired me right off the spot.
That's awesome, man. And did you probably never thought that, like, 23 years later, you'd still be standing there, right?
Well, no, I did not, but I definitely I don't know, I always wanted to find a salon where I didn't wanna leave, and I consider myself very lucky that I found that right off the bat. I could think a lot of people look for that and they go, "Oh, that's not," they kind of either one doesn't really work out or it's just not for them or it doesn't feel like their place. So I consider myself very lucky that I found that right first off.
That's amazing, and that actually probably says a lot about you too, and about just how you approach your workspace. Because
Yeah,
I thought I was long. I did my first salon I was at for 14 years, and then my second salon I was there for 7 years, and now I've been in a suite for the last 10 years. So I'm not really one to jump around, jump around. But yeah, 23 years in one spot is something. You
yeah.
find, and I didn't actually until I left that salon where that I was at for 14 years. I felt like once I started my new salon, and I didn't know this going into it, but I had seniority just because I'd been in the salon because it was a younger salon. Did you kind of feel like how'd you get through like being the junior stylist and then being respected as a senior stylist?
I think my so the person that mentored me, two women that actually mentored me, are still there. Seeing that and following that and knowing like, uh, this person has been there 35 some years, um, and working under them and kind of seeing what they did. And I knew that if I was gonna establish a clientele and that clientele, was gonna rely on me to be trustworthy and at work and everything, I wanted to stay in one place, and I wanted to make sure that that was where I was staying. And I think moving up through from intern to junior stylist to educator, creative director, now part owner, it's kind of I don't know. I think I just developed a trust with my staff and with my coworkers, and I've always kind of had been a little humble around them and not so seniority, but
Mhm.
almost like kind of playing at their level where I felt they felt that I was approachable or that I wasn't just, "Oh, she's this now," or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I think that does that
Yeah,
answer?
well, I mean, I think for me, and I want to be clear too, like the salon that I was at for 14 years when I left, and I felt like more of a senior stylist. Like I think 99.9% of that was in my head. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it was real at all, but just when I went to the other salon and then, I was a little bit older than everybody else where in the salon that I was at before that, like, we're all kind of the same age. So, like, your positioning and I've always been like a little insecure little kid anyways. So, I just didn't think that I just don't I think it was in my head that I didn't have the seniority
Yeah.
that I did, or that I didn't see myself in those positions. And then again, going into the other salon, that changed everything. I do think that the rest of my life doesn't happen if I didn't leave because of that, because it kind of forced me to see things a little bit differently, and it forced me
Mhm.
in a different position, which I think has led to everything that obviously is that led to everything that I've done since then.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, being 19 and starting out that young, I was the baby, the baby in the salon. But I also I don't know, I've always been told that I've kind of had an old soul. So I think as I got a little older, I think nobody really viewed me as the young one anymore. But I also kind of stepped up and created that role um that outshined my age.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I again, I probably wasn't there. I wasn't ready to be there or whatever. And I had to work through my ego a lot, and I had to work through my own insecurities a lot. And I mean, I don't know. I was appreciative of when I left, but not in resistance to where I was. It wasn't that at
Yeah.
all. But I just think that well, I certainly needed that. So interesting, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
the whole you get to an age where you can kind of like look backwards and see things
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Just grateful for all the opportunities. So,
Absolutely.
I introduced you as a salon owner. Are you not a salon owner?
Well, Rick is a salon owner.
Yeah.
I'm married to my husband is the salon owner and owns Avalon. So I actually ended up meeting my husband in that same salon.
Obviously. I
And
hope so.
yeah, obviously. But we've been together 21 years. So I think part of that, that was a separate entity of from my career. And we did keep that kind of separate. I was the employee at work and I'm the wife at home.
How was that as far as like, your other staff members? Like, was there like a lot of like owner's girl or that kind of stuff? Because I've definitely been in salons where that we've had that dynamic, and I don't think it's always been great for the person that was actually working in the salon.
We handled it really well when we started dating. We kept it a secret for a couple of years and didn't, kind of didn't bring that into the salon. And once it was revealed, we had been together for a couple of years at that time. And so I think the staff really respected that and they respected me and they respected how I was, even though I was somebody, the owner's girlfriend or the owner's wife, I still acted like an employee. I didn't expect special treatment or anything like that because I was the owner's better half.
Well, that bravo if you pulled that off, because I have yet to. I haven't really seen anybody be able to pull that off, and not necessarily even what in this case what Michelle would put into it, but like how the rest of the staff sees it. There's
Yeah, I mean, there might have been a couple that were like,
right.
like, oh, what's this? But the majority of them were like, oh, this is so cool. This is great. I had never had anybody be unkind or ugly about it.
Maybe gonna
Thanks.
pull that
Thanks.
pull that.
And I mean, it goes to show, I mean, we've been together 21 years and, I think it's just a really good relationship that we have. And I think that's part of the other thing that I'm lucky to have found Avalon because I found him.
Bravo. That also keep you in place too, won't it? Hard to quit on your
Absolutely.
husband over there.
Absolutely.
Well, I can tell you, like, from just private conversations that I've had with Rick, that he's such a big advocate of you and such a big fan
He
of
is.
doing what you're doing.
He is.
And that's pretty awesome.
He's my number one fan, and I totally appreciate everything that he does.
That's awesome. That's so good. Okay, so you said you didn't want to cut hair, but you had to in hair school. So are you cutting hair now, or
No, I'm a colorist, tried and true master colorist. Started as a colorist and never picked up a pair of shears.
same, by the way, I stopped cutting hair in like 95 or something, and I haven't picked up. I think the last head I cut was probably my father's, and like I did a terrible job.
Yeah.
You know, when your dad's telling you did a terrible job, maybe it's time to like put the shears down and
Yeah.
go on to something else. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it really wasn't for me. It was just like I think my brain just kind of saw color differently than cutting. Cutting is a little intimidating. Once it comes off, you can't put it back.
No, exactly. Is Avalon compartmentalized, or are you just the only?
We are specialized. Yeah, so we have and we keep the cut and color side separate.
Is that everybody, or are there some people that do it all?
No, that's everybody. Yeah.
Wow, how's that working
Yeah.
the model?
It actually works fine. We've been in business for 36 years and have always been specialized. And I think that truly, it's kind of like, when you go to a specialty doctor, you go to that doctor because they know that. That's kind of how we position it is spend your career really, really honing that one craft, that one thing that you just absolutely love. And it just makes you, I feel like being able to really like tune into that has just really been helpful for me to really grow my color business.
And do you when you have share clients, is there one stylist that has the majority of your clients, or are your haircutting clients like spread out throughout everyone? And then, okay, go ahead, answer that, and then I have a follow up.
They're yes and no. They're spread out. I mean, they're mainly. I do share a lot of my clients with my cut educator slash director on that side, but I pretty much share my clients with everybody.
And then so for me, I've been fortunate enough to where my cutter, we've been together our whole careers, sort of kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, like just the way that we communicate and stuff is really like dialed in.
Yes.
Is it I couldn't imagine having, 15 people that I'm talking to and trying to dial in the conversation as far as like what the end look and the finishing is going to look like. How do you manage that, or how have you been able to manage that?
We have conversations either pre-service or, at this point, we all know our clients so well that, it's just usually a casual conversation. I keep a lot of notes.
Mhm.
We have an app that we use that's part of our scheduling service that anybody can see that note If I know that my client's coming in and she's going to do a big chop, I might, I might actually have them cut her hair first.
Mhm.
Just and we might consult with that. We might even consult together so that we're both on the same page.
Yeah, same. That's how we do it. Even for pretty much all of our clients have a.
Yeah, no different than like being in a photo shoot situation where you've got the color department over here doing all the color work and the cut side, and everybody's collaborating about a cohesive look.
So how did you made the transition? So how did
Yeah.
you were in Paris, right? For Fashion Week?
So I was in Yes, I was in Paris for Fashion Week last October, and I'm actually going back in a couple weeks in March.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. Walk me through that. Like, how'd you get that opportunity? How'd you do that?
Man, so that was actually so Paris Fashion Week was my first fashion week, back in October, as a stylist. Styling has always been a second love for me, and so a couple of years ago, I really wanted to start kind of learning more about styling, especially session styling, and getting more well-rounded when I'm working on my own work, especially with photo shoots and things like that. So I actually signed up for an online education program called Hair Mastery. At the time, it was called the Wig Academy, but now it's called Hair Mastery. Basically it's your master class version for hair. So there's all these great hairdressers that have these master classes on there. So I signed up for it. Pablo Kuman is the creator founder of the company, and so I subscribed to the thing, did the online education for about a year, and then he started advertising live classes in the States. He's out of Switzerland, and so I attended his LA class last August, and that was on wigs, wig styling, cutting wigs, coloring wigs, all of that. And so he actually provides opportunities for people that have interest in fashion weeks. So as you get more involved in his classes and things like that, if you express your interest or whatever, they might call on you. So when I was at the class, I just said, "Hey, I'm interested in working with you, collaborating with you, or assisting you at Fashion Week, things like that." He said, "Absolutely. Reach out to my team and we'll let you know." And then 2 weeks later, they invited me.
That's so cool. So
So
you took the class in August, and then you were in Paris in October.
Yep. Yeah, invited me on Labor Day. So it was like end of August, and then Labor Day I was invited based on he just liked the work that I did in class, thought I was a pretty solid student. So he went,
That's amazing, man. Were
and
you
at first I said no.
stop, really?
I did. I said no because I'm such a planner. It was so last minute. And I was like, oh my God, that's in like 4 weeks. I have to buy a ticket to Paris in 4 weeks. And then Rick was like, you said no. Go, go back there and tell him just kidding. So I went back and said, just I was able to move some things around. I can do it. They're like, great. We'll see you then.
Okay, hold on, Michelle. So was it really because you were a planner, or was there some of that insecurity that kind of like
Oh, there was definitely some insecurity there. I had already put myself out there asking him. That's huge for me because I'm typically the quiet one in the corner that doesn't, don't look at me, don't look over here. So that was one big leap. Then, and mind you, I had just a week before I had done his class, I was color director for Elevate Hair at Aveda Congress.
Mhm.
So I'd just come off of that, just like 2 or 3 days off of that. So I was on a whirlwind already. I was just coming off of a high. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then, yeah, there was some insecurity there. It was like, wow, I'm going to Paris to do a thing that I've never done before in front of a bunch of people that I don't know. So
and you kind of like like with Elevate and stuff because certainly it's so much they arrive a lot for Avedas. Like it was like
yeah,
almost having to like reprove yourself to people who don't know who you are or who cares.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. Coming into this world where nobody knows me, I'm just the next person,
right. Did you feel that
the
way
next
when you got
stranger.
there?
No, actually. I was very welcomed. I had this, I always show up early. I was the first one there. I got there before even any of the hair team. And, it is a little nerve wracking because the planner and me, wanted to know all the details right away. And with Fashion Week, that's not what you get. You get details the night before where you're going and what you're going to be doing. And so I was like, is this even happening? But it happened. But, I showed up and then this whole team of people that knew each other and this whole group, they came in, and you know what? I just, introduced myself, and I'm here helping out, and they were so welcoming, and it was so great.
That's awesome. I've noticed that just as the industry as a whole, for the
Hairdressers
most
love each
part.
other. I mean,
Yeah.
they're so great. It's like, you know, one, come all, right?
Yeah. No, that's definitely been my experience. And like, if you show that you're showing up for the industry tends to show up for you. That
Absolutely.
there's certainly exceptions to that, but in the general, that's always kind of been, my experience and why I love the industry so much. Okay, so back up. So, was there any hesitation when you were asking? Like, because now you've got to, because not only are you asking, but you're saying you're really asking, "Am I worthy enough to follow you to Paris?" Like
Yeah.
that certainly would have been what was in my head. Like, walk
Yeah.
me through that and walk me through. Like, you wanted to do it, but you didn't want to do it, or tell me about that.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to do it, and I definitely felt, "Okay, I think I could do something like this. What's the worst that could happen, right? You're following this person's lead, so hopefully this person's gonna set you up for success," which he totally did, and he totally made sure that we all had, all the information just to know, like, everything that was expected of us for that day. But yeah, asking him, I
Hold on,
was
Michelle. Hold on, Michelle. Before that, when you went to ask,
yeah.
the actual ask, like walk me kind of through that, where your head was. Did you just do it in a whim? Did you think about it? Like what's the strategy here?
I waited till the end of the class because, it was busy. There's 15 people in the class. I waited till the class was pretty much over. He was signing our little certificates. We were about to do like a group photo, basically packing up our stuff to leave.
Mhm.
And, Rick had reminded me, don't forget to ask, you need to bring this up, blah, blah, blah. The person in me that was probably the cringy part of it, because I was like, "Oh god, and now I have to, like, go talk to this person and talk to him about what I wanna do and all that stuff." But what's the worst? He could say no, he could say whatever, or
Mhm.
he could say sure and then never reach out again, like, that's all those things were going through my head. So, I just said, "You know what? I'm gonna do it." If I get home and I tell Rick that I didn't do it, he's gonna he's gonna be like, "What the hell?"
Exactly, right?
It's like, "That's not what we discussed." So I said, "I'm doing it." So he was just, he was sitting there and he was writing my certificate, and I said, Actually, I would love to work with you some more. I really enjoyed this class. I would love to learn more from you, and I'd be very interested in fashion weeks or anything like that in the future." And he said, "Excellent."
That's awesome. And then 2 weeks
Yeah.
later, bada bing, bada boom, they're like, "You're in."
And then I took a deep breath. I went and had a glass of wine.
First you said no, and then you went and took a deep breath and had a glass of wine,
Yeah.
and then had
Yeah.
some consult with Rick there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I never thought that I just thought, honestly, after I'd asked him and he said, "Yeah, sure, reach out to my team." I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." Like, that's, there's probably so many people that are trying to do this. And when I reached out I immediately emailed his team. Also, Pablo is also, he's like, "Here's my phone number, message me, I will respond," that kind of thing. He's very personable, very kind. And that is a little unusual for me because I feel like some people don't want that. They're not going to give you, any of their personal information because, I wouldn't want to be bombarded all the time by
Right.
people. But I just really thought once I reached out to his staff, I was like, they're probably gonna, it's just gonna be whatever.
Uh-huh.
But they got back to me within seconds. I mean, it was like right off the bat, just saying like, "Oh, absolutely, we'll put you on the list. Here, thank you so much." And then 2 weeks later was when they invited me.
That's
So it felt very comfortable.
that's awesome. So you get to Paris, you're doing your first fashion week. What was the biggest surprise?
The tight Honestly, the tight space. For some reason, I just thought like, when we do photo shoots and when we do hair shows and things like that, we prep in salons. This is not really the case. And I guess now that I'm thinking about it, well, that was kind of silly to think of that way because a fashion show is usually just at the venue wherever you're at. So really that was probably one of the big ahas was just like, okay, here we all are. Makeup, hair, wardrobe, skin, nails, whatever it is, we're all in this one room and we're all working together. And your space is so small and there's just stuff everywhere. I think that was kind of the big thing.
Does it feel like organization or does it feel chaos?
I call it organized chaos, controlled chaos, because it looks very neat and tidy when you walk in. Everything's all set up really well. You got a mirror, you've got like all your electrical equipment, everything's laid out, products, whatever. And then everybody has a role. Everybody's given a role, given a thing to do. And then all of a sudden we have 30 models coming in and they need to be done in 2 hours. And so, yeah, it was very well organized,
But
but also chaotic.
okay, so you're an Aveda girl through and through. Was it Aveda products that were set out for you, or did you have other?
No, no, completely different, which was kind of odd. Well, not odd, just different for me because I'm not used to working with these other products. But you kind of learn really quick what is what, and the people that are there are representing that product. So they kind of give you a little bit of, okay, well, this is going to do this, this is going to do that. We're going to use this on the models today, and here's the step by step. Like use this first, use this second, and just keep going.
That's awesome because I'm sure that kind of stepped into the insecurity too. Like I know what
Like,
I
oh
already
no,
know what to grab, but now I've got to
yeah.
almost have to take that. You have that second that you don't have to make a decision about like which products to use and stuff like that. That's pretty
Well, and you kind of learn that technique is really all you need, right? Your technique and what you're doing, products will kind of help you out and get you there, but gel is gel. I think,
there, right?
yeah.
That's so awesome. And like those first moments where you kind of looking around going like, who's here?
Yeah, who is this? Like, what's going on? And it's funny, that was one of the other things was, everybody was from all over. I was the only American there. And I thought, there's going to be a language barrier. It's going to be, I'm going to be the only English speaking person. Everybody spoke English. It was super easy that way. But then just connecting with all these people from all over different countries, not just France or even,
How many stylists were in the room? Hairstylists.
I'd say there's about 20 of us.
Okay, so 30 artists, 30
Yeah.
models in
30 models,
2
20
hours.
stylists.
That's pretty cool, man. And then
Yeah.
so did it feel like it was 2 hours of absolute chaos about getting, and I also wanna bring this up, Michelle, and, let me know what your experience with it is, but it's been advised to me that if you wanna work Fashion Week, you must work fast, and you have
Yes.
you have to work very, very quickly.
Yes.
That's always my advice when people are asking about it. Like, can you do very, very good work in a very, very short period of time because that's
Yes.
what it demands,
We had about 10 or 15 minutes per model, if give or take.
give or take. So, I mean, yeah, that's unbelievably quick. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
quicker than a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, like, the very first so just to for instance, like, the very first show that we did was for John Battista Valli, and, we had to do finger waves. I
Oof.
mean, the whole yes, and the whole head had to be a finger wave, and they wanted it a certain way. Luckily, Pablo actually did a demo before we even started and said, "Step 1, step 2, step 3." Basically, like, "These are the steps. Do it this way, and the designer will be happy." And so, it was kinda like an assembly line. It was like, "Okay, step 1, we're all gonna do this," and then step 2, and so it was just like turning them out, and once you do a couple, you start to get your stride, and you start to just, "Okay, we've got a momentum going," and there was at least 2 or 3 people on one person
That's
so that
awesome.
we could
Get through it.
tackle this.
What
Yes.
what had you done any finger waves since like hair school?
No,
No,
and
I don't.
I wanna say that I probably got a deduction for my terrible finger wave
Well,
in my
I was gonna follow up and say the same thing. Like, I think I did one set and then I might have stolen the stamper for the other sets that I never did.
exactly.
Whoa.
So to do one little one on the side of a head in your practical exam versus doing the whole head is, ooh,
Yeah, just
scary.
it's gotta make sense. It's not just a space. It's actually gotta make sense. That's
Yeah.
really cool, man. That's cool. And then, so how many shows did you guys do?
That year, last year, I did 3, actually,
So the 3 shows
3 shows.
during the Paris Fashion Week? That's
Yeah,
so cool. Do you want
yeah.
more? Do you have the itch now?
I do have the itch. I'm going back. I'm
Okay.
going back. Hopefully, I'm not sure how many shows I will do this time around, but, um, hopefully at least what I did last year.
Would you wanna do New York?
I wanted to. I know that's happening right now. I actually reached out to see if Pablo was doing anything with New York, and it turned out that he wasn't. But I actually would like to eventually do New York.
Would you do New York with someone else, or are you gonna wait till Pablo gets there?
Oh, I would do it with somebody else. I mean, I would totally do it. I would just need to find that person. And maybe it's with Aveda. I don't know.
That's a good call. Maybe it is. Is Aveda there each year?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so cool. That's extraordinary, man. And then so it's so cool to kinda watch, like, just watch you're not just being a hairstylist behind the chair kinda thing, you know? And
Yeah, yeah.
there's great honor in that as well. I'm not saying that there's not great honor in that, but
Absolutely. I'll never leave my chair. I think there's something to be said about being behind your chair and just having the relationship with your clients and just having that thing, but this is taking off a whole different box. This is play. And when I get to play and when I get to be creative, it just makes me more happy to be behind my chair too.
yeah, there's something about mental health and staying creative.
Absolutely. And my clients love it. They're like, "Oh my gosh, this is so great. I want to know more about it." So it's become quite the conversation starter as well.
Well, not only the conversation starter, Michelle, but then they're out having a glass of wine with their friends, and they're like, "Do you know my hairdresser was just in town?"
Exactly.
They kinda own your thing too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They eat it up.
They totally do, and, that's also important to remember too, as
Yeah.
far as, like, you're if you're a mess, even if that client loves you, they're not gonna recommend their friends to you.
Right.
But if
Right.
you're but, if you're showing up I don't even know where I'm going with this,
No,
but I know
yeah, showing up in many different ways. They come in, they want to see what I did. They want to see pictures of the shoot. They want to see pictures from the show that I did, or they want to see pictures from Paris. They live vicariously through me in a way?
completely. And like I said,
Yeah.
because then they have stuff to say like, "Well, my hairdresser is so
Yeah.
cool that she was just in Paris," so
Yeah.
they're one up
Yeah.
friends and stuff. "What has your hairdresser done?" So that's pretty funny and cool
Yeah.
as well. Well, that's awesome, man. So how much time did you have to take off of work?
Honestly, so I work Tuesday through Friday. I'm a 410 girl.
Mhm.
And I only took off like 4 days. I ended up working it was over a weekend, and I'm the kind of person that makes up every day that I take off. So, I worked a lot, previous, and when I got back, I worked a little extra, days off.
That's cool. What are the questions that the clients have been asking you about it?
So, who are you working for? So are you just doing hair? Are you doing styling? Are you coloring? They're fascinated. They think that, because I'm stepping into this world where I'm not coloring, so they're like, "Wow, you're just styling?" They wanna know how Paris is during this time. They wanna know if I met any celebrities, which no. No, we're the people behind the scenes that are just doing the hair and, unfortunately don't get to see the show, but or at least not at that time.
Right. Is it,
But yeah,
is it as glamorous as it seems, or is it's just work at the end of the day?
it's just work at the end of the day, honestly. Yeah, it doesn't feel any more glamorous than working behind the scenes at a hair show or a
Have you
fashion
have you
show.
done a lot of that as well? Worked at, like, hair shows?
I have. I've worked at Aveda shows mainly, but Congress back in the day, there used to be master jams where they would tour around, and so if they were coming to Dallas, I would help on that, working on elevates when those are coming around, helping with prep and things like that.
Do you travel with Elevate or just, like, when it's, like, in the
I did. I have. I don't often now, but I did when it first launched. I was going around, with Tatum and doing elevates, but mainly now just doing it for Congress, and if it's coming to my town or anywhere that like New Orleans or something like that, I might jump on.
That's so cool. Those are such fun events. If you guys are listening in, you haven't been to
It's
Elevate, if you're at a hair show
yeah.
and you hear about, like, an Elevate thing, it's cool. It's just a different way to approach hairdressing, and
It's very cool. I love the community part of it. I love getting honestly, it was getting to meet people that were outside of the Aveda network that weren't necessarily, Aveda aligned, but just different brands, different aspects of the industry. I've actually met some really good friends and made some really good friends that way.
it is pretty cool, and, like, Aveda's done a really good job of this, Redken has and stuff like where they've built, like, these communities, but what
Mhm.
Elevate is none of that matters, it's just
No.
about the hairdresser, it's just about the people that are working behind the chair
Yep.
and being able to do cool, fun work, I just
Yeah, and
it's such a
it gives people a platform that don't necessarily have that platform, especially local hairdressers that just wanna go have fun and do hair.
that's so, so cool. Bravo, Tatum.
Yeah, Tatum.
Yeah, Tatum. And actually, I'm gonna have to bring him back on the podcast, and we'll have to chat about it. Like,
Yeah.
like how he
Yeah.
maybe did I ask him about how he finds I don't remember. But yeah, no, those are really cool events. I always look forward to them, and
Yeah, he's coming to Dallas in March, so we'll be
well, unless you're in Paris or
oh, it'll be at the end of March. Yeah.
bravo. That's all. That's awesome. We're gonna To March? Oh, no, March, I'm in New York. April, I'm in ABS. Anyways, I wanna make sure that I'm gonna get to see an Elevate here, in the spring over here. Michelle, how can people find you?
At Michelle Bowden Hair on Instagram. Yeah,
If anybody has any questions about Fashion Week or anything, can they reach out to you? Not
absolutely.
necessarily clothing,
Anytime.
but yeah, just about your experience
Yeah,
and all that stuff. That's awesome.
anytime.
Michelle, thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for telling your story.
Thank you so much, Corey.
You are so very welcome. So, like I said, so many people ask me, and I don't even know why they ask me, just because I guess I don't know why, but about how to do Fashion Week and stuff, and I just like to be able to spread like the story of like a, and I don't mean any disrespect, but a normal hairdresser that works behind the chair, and how you find opportunity, how you seek opportunity.
Yeah, and you were so right earlier on, you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to throw down a bunch of money and it's not you know, it's you just have to meet the right people and you have to put yourself out there.
You have to put yourself out there. And yeah, just a PSA, if you get any emails of, people wanting to like take you to Fashion Week and, at the end of the day, it's always about, well, if you pay me 2,000 bucks, I'm going to get you on a team or whatever. Those are kind of scammy. I would definitely not suggest that. I'm not saying that, it won't happen, but there's ways to do it where you don't have to pay like a broker or something in between. And that also goes to say that if you get like an email from behind the chair saying that they want to like promote you and stuff, I highly recommend that you reach out at least into BTC or whoever, Babelist. I know that I've gotten emails from them and all that. Not really from them, but out there. We want to put you on the team, or you're so unique that we want to put you on the team. Just double down and do your research. And most of those people don't send out emails
Right.
calling you. So just be careful out there in this here world.
Yes.
Um, definitely do your due diligence as far as finding out if it's real or not. Nothing
Yep.
like take a shot in your pride and take a shot in your bank account or
Exactly.
and all that good stuff. So, anyways, that's that. Michelle Bowden, thank you for hanging out and thank you very, very much for joining us on your day off.
Thank you so much.